Hi, my name is Nalin Wickramasuri. I'm from medicalinterviewpreparation.co.uk, and in this video, which is the second of a series of 4 videos on how to plan your answers, I want to explore the question about what's this question really about. Okay, so whenever you get a question, I want you to think, what's this question really about? And really, it's just another way of just making sure that you listen very carefully to the question, because if you don't, and it's very easy not to when you're under pressure, it's it's a common error is to try and answer the question that you thought you heard or you wanted to hear, and so you have a mismatch with the questioner. You have to try and understand what's in the mind of the questioner. Just try and work out what's this question about, because sometimes the question that's given to you isn't what's being questioned. Okay, so you have to try and guess. I mean, that's you can't know, so you have to try and guess what you think this is about, and typically it will be about you. All right, so if you get a question that says, how important is team working? Well, that's not the question, okay, because everyone's going to say it's really important. Okay, the question is, how well do you make teams work? Okay, or something of that nature. Okay, so you need to try and make sure that you understand what this question is really about, what's really being questioned. Then try and get some idea of whether you think the question is future-based or past-based. Okay, it's important that you try and play the question where it is. Okay, so if the question is future-based, like how would you organize a teaching session, then you have to deliver your answer sort of 80% in the future. You can still reference the past for maybe 20% of the time, but most of your time should be talking about your creative ideas and how you might plan to execute your solutions. Okay, if it's a past-based question like talk me through your background, then 80% of your time should be delivered in the past, and 20% should reference the future. So, you're going to talk about your past experiences or the skills that you've acquired or the qualifications that you've gleaned, those kinds of things. Okay, so just bear that in mind when you're analysing what's the topic of discussion here. Then you need to try and understand whether you think the question is really trying to analyse your competence or your drive or your team playing skills, or maybe a combination of 2 or 3 of those. So in some of my other training, I would have talked to you about the hidden agendas, and the hidden agenda for the interview panel is to understand whether the candidate is competent, whether the candidate is driven, and whether the candidate is a good team player. So your skills, by and large, will fall into one of those kind of 3 buckets. It'll either be you've got your competence skills and your drive skills and your team skills. And when you get a question, if you kind of think, okay, this is a kind of team-based skill, well, then you'll just, if you organize your skills in your mind as being team skills, you can then say, well, this is what this is about. It's about my communication skills. It's about how well I listen to people, how well I can make people feel at ease and trust me, how honest I am, my probity. It's going to be about those kinds of skills, and that's what I might bring up. Okay, so try and get some sense of whether this is a competence, drive, team, or combination type question. Okay. The other thing I want you to do is just try and pick out what do you think are the key phrases that we use in the wording of the question. Okay. So if the question is how important is team working, well, for me the key phrases are important and team working. If the question is what are you going to bring to the department over the next 5 years, well, the key phrase is certainly next 5 years and department. Okay, you might say, oh, I want bring in there as well, but it doesn't really matter. Just have a view, because what I want you to try and play with is the idea that you can reflect those words back at them in your introduction of your answer and in the conclusion of your answer. And what that does is it gives them the impression or the illusion that you've answered the question. Now, hopefully you will actually have answered their question, but certainly by doing this strategy it helps you to give that illusion too. Okay, so hopefully that's helped you understand how I want you to think about what this question is about. Okay, and again, with practice you get to do this very, very quickly, but you do need to practice this. Okay, best of luck.